Hello everybody, my name is Jackson McClure here with a very important topic for you guys, which is property taxes and how it can affect your monthly mortgage payment. Right now at this very moment, we are going to pretend that we are a first-time home buyer or maybe someone who is selling their home and getting their other pre-approval so that they can go out and buy a house. It's going to be similar for both situations. Let's just act like we're going out and we're getting approved. Maybe we talk to a lender or we talk to a big bank or, someone who's going to let us borrow money, right? So we have our pre-approval and you have your amount. Let's just say for this case, I'm going to use $250,000. So we have our $250,000 now. Okay, we're thinking, all right, I can go out and purchase a home for $250,000, which in another video I'll explain some things and what that might mean. But for anyway, we're just going to use the 250 for right now. This is the time where it's super important that you, your agent, and your lender or whoever you're using are all on the same page, because if they are not, then things are going to get really screwed up and everyone's just kind of gonna be in a pickle, so to speak. So we're good with the approval. We have it, 250K, right? We go on Zillow, we go on different apps like Realtor.com, Trulia, whatever you may use to look at homes. Maybe you've seen some just passing through and you're talking to your agent or whoever you're using. If you haven't got one yet, maybe you're just kind of browsing and you see a home that you like. Now, for the sake of the reasoning here and how I'm going to show this example is this home is under your budget. It is $235,000. Now remember, again, backtracking to the pre-approval, it had been for up to $250,000. However, when they average out an approval and they are looking at property taxes, this is banks, lenders, anyone like that, they are using a computer generated or an average, I guess, property tax for a whole municipality area. So this is where we're going to get into a little bit more detail and kind of explain some things. So now what we're going to do is say that this house is in maybe a little bit more of a well taken care of area. They have nicer schools. The city that they are in maybe takes care of their streets well. There's not much trash laying around. The city keeps it up well, all right? This is the one for $235,000. Now, on the other hand, your option number two, there is one where it is about let's say $250,000. You're right at that mark. But this house, however, is in a different area, maybe on the other side of town. It's not as nice of an area, but you like the house because it might have a little bit more to offer. It might have an extra bedroom, or it might have a little more space, something like that. There's something about it that stands out and might make it, a little bit above the selling price or the asking price of that 235. Depending on whether a property is a corner property, if it's on the same street, same neighborhood, it is very likely that no two houses are going to have the same property taxes or the same amount of property taxes. So now what I'm going to do to finish up this example is kind of take you over to the whiteboard so I can write this down so it makes a little bit more sense and we can dig into it a little bit more. Now for this example, I'm just going to draw kind of a square shape. Sorry if it's not perfect, but this is just going to represent our area as far as it pertains to house A over here. Now this one is 235. And then this one all the way across town, that's what we're going to pretend here. This is the one for 250K. So nicer area, not as nicer of an area. So we are going to pretend here that the house for $235,000 has an annual property tax of, let's say, $4,800 a year. So if you were to divide that by 12, and again, this goes in with your monthly payment, that's going to be $400 a month to your property taxes. Now, when we look over here to the one for 250, this one could be about, let's say, maybe it doesn't cost as much to upkeep the, city and stuff like that. So let's just say this is maybe 24. So I can, maybe like we're looking average on property taxes. So that's where we're at right now. Now, because this is double the property taxes over here for 250, this amount is almost going to equal out to be the same cost as your 250K, because as you go up in property tax, it adds along to your principal and interest, thus going to your monthly payment. So right here, you have about, besides your principal and interest, $200 a month on your property taxes. Whereas over here, you have $400 a month on your property taxes. So based on the prices, these will almost exactly even out anywhere you go. And again, it's a little bit of a give or take, but you can almost treat these exactly like 250 because of these property taxes. So in this situation as a buyer, you would probably ask yourself, well, wasn't my pre-approval for 250? Doesn't it make it universal? Like, what does this mean? Well, technically, when you get pre-approved, you can go up to that amount, but your property taxes and your monthly payments play a big role in this, because the lender or whoever is giving you your pre-approval is basing it off of your finances. So no, you cannot go out and buy any house for 250 because of this reason for property taxes. Now, the house for 235 is going to almost equal the same monthly payment for that 250 like we just went over. So what this means is, if the house for 250 were to have the same property taxes as the house for 235, you would be ineligible to get this house. And that is why it's so important to talk with your agent, talk with your lender, have everyone run through the numbers just so that no mistakes are made, T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and you can find yourself a forever home that way. And technically speaking, property taxes will be different everywhere you go. They can be a little bit similar if you're looking in the same neighborhood or on the same street, but generally speaking, like we were talking about before, no two homes will have the exact same property tax. It has to deal with lot size, home size, what the taxable value is assessed. Like, there's all these different types of factors that go into that, which I'm going to tell you about on a website that you can use for free, because it has all of the city records and everything that you can just look up whenever you want, free for your own knowledge. This specific site in question is called BS+A, which I will drop the link to under the video, and you guys can all go take a look at that and just kind of poke around and see what those things mean to you. Biggest question of the day for everyone should be, what does this mean for me? Well, what it means for you and why it's so important to all you buyers out there are people who have never shopped around before and might not know as much about, navigating the market and how different numbers work and how different things could be plugged into where in different places. It really is for people's own good to ask these questions and make sure they do their research, because a lot of people who go into the market who don't know about this could say, hey, like the example we said before, my pre-approval says 250, I'm gonna go out and look for one that's maybe 250 or directly under, or maybe even there might be some for over 250 that have even lower property taxes that you could still be eligible for. So all of these really tie into the same thing of, will my price of my monthly payment be what I want it to be if all of these houses are different prices? Which is, yes, it can be, and they will all be different. And I really think the biggest takeaway for this video, and at least for me when I learned all this stuff after becoming an agent, is it is really not about the price of the home or necessarily the area, which can kind of tie into it, but your property taxes and knowing what they are in different areas should be your main concern, because that is going to be a big factor that is adding to your principal and interest payment apart from your regular mortgage. So as far as all property tax conversation is concerned, that should wrap it up for the most part for this video. I am probably missing a couple things that I could go into more detail on, but again, different videos to come and more conversations, but I want to keep this a little bit short and sweet just to kind of wrap everyone's heads around the idea and make sure that people are aware of it. So thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to see this.